How's it going, you big beautiful bastards? Welcome back to another career resimulation. Today, we have the last quarterback we're doing from the 2004 draft class, Philip Rivers. Quarterback out of NC State. Technically went to the team who had the #1 overall pick, but they picked Eli, and Eli refused to sign there, so the Chargers ended up getting Philip Rivers, and the Giants ended up getting Eli Manning. Funny story there. So when we did Eli, he couldn't win a Super Bowl. Let's see if Philip Rivers can pull it out, even though I don't know if he genuinely knows how to pull out. He's currently the projected #2 overall pick. At first, I did have him just above Will Levis at 4, but he managed to pass Bryce Young and get up to 2. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully, it doesn't go to the Houston Texans. The Texans, per usual, have the #1 overall pick, and with the #1 overall pick, they select Philip Rivers. Of course they do. So we get to watch the Houston Texans again with another quarterback that should be good, but isn't going to be because this team is terrible. Maybe Rivers is the one to turn this team around. You know, you never know. As you can see, Philip Rivers is the starting quarterback at a 79 overall. Dameon Pierce is here. OJ Howard is here. Sterling Shepard's here. That's a new one where they haven't had him before. On top of that, you also have Brandon Cooks and John Mechie at receiver 3. Jump right into this and sim to the playoffs in his rookie season. They usually don't make the playoffs here when they're on Houston, but maybe the addition of Sterling Shepard makes that big of a difference. So per usual in his rookie season, they end up missing the playoffs as they go 6-11, but the #5 rated passing offense, meaning Philip Rivers, probably had a pretty decent season. Yeah, Rivers ends up finishing with almost 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, and a 104 passer rating. Could very well be Offensive Rookie of the Year on the AFC side. Josh Allen wins NFL MVP. And there it is. Philip Rivers beats out Jordan Addison and Bryce Young for AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's up to an 83 overall too, as it said there. Justin Herbert's the starting quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. And there it is. You get Philip Rivers, who's an 84 overall, unlocked his X Factor. Brandon Cooks is still here. Sterling Shepard regressed. John Mechie went up an overall. Dameon Pierce went up 2 overalls, and they drafted a tight end to replace OJ Howard. They got Dom Higgins. Simulating through year 2, I just want to stop like I always do and just say thank you to everyone that clicked on the video. Thank you to everyone who's watched past videos, because the last UFC video actually did really well, so thank you all for that. And as I always say, if you guys are enjoying, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, but as always, that choice is up to you guys, whether you want to click those buttons or just watch the video. Year 2, they managed to get worse and go 5-12, bottom of the division, have the 22nd ranked passing offense, so Philip had a bit of a decline. Yeah, as Rivers throws for 4,325 touchdowns with a 98 passer rating. On to year 3 we go, and once again, the Houston Texans are destroying the career of an all-pro quarterback. Going into year 3, Philip is up to an 87. They lost Brandon Cooks. Sterling Shepard is now receiver 1. Dameon Pierce is an 89, and Higgins is up to a 78. Higgins didn't end up unlocking an X Factor either, as he just ended up as a silver. Simming forward to the playoffs in year 3, it said the defense is a 77 overall and maybe holding this offense back as they're up to an 84 overall. In year 3, they do get a little better, as for once my team ranks aren't all red, but they still miss the playoffs and go 7-10. #10 ranked passing offense though, so maybe Philip got a little better this season. Rivers throws for 4,700 yards, 29 touchdowns, and has a 100 passer rating basically on the dot. Definitely not the MVP. Geno Smith actually wins the MVP for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rivers is already up to a 90 as they lose Dameon Pierce, but they get a new running back who is Dwayne Key. On top of that, they get Garrett Wilson and DJ Chark going into this season, and Higgins is up to an 80. The Garrett Wilson pickup is huge. That is going to make all the difference. Well, Garrett Wilson definitely helped the passing offense, but not the team as a whole, as they go 7-10, finish at the bottom of the division and miss the playoffs again, but the passing offense was ranked 6th. Rivers throws for 5,000 yards and 32 touchdowns, a 105 passer rating. See, that's closer to MVP numbers, but he's probably not the MVP, and he's not even in the conversation once again. I'm curious, as Garrett Wilson isn't even the best receiver on the team. He's 3rd with 78 catches, 978, and 8 touchdowns. DJ Chark did better than him, and Zaire Polite. Oh my god, I really just said Polite instead of Polite. Wow. Maybe it's Polite. I don't know, but he had almost 1,400 yards receiving. And now we go on to year 5, where Eli was lucky enough to escape this team at this point. I don't know if Philip's going to get that lucky. Going into year 5, they're still rocking with Philip Rivers at a 92, and oh my god, they got AJ Brown along with Garrett Wilson, and Higgins is an 82, and Key is up to an 80. This offense somehow just got stacked. How you get A.J. Brown and Garrett Wilson, I don't know, but Phillip has some dogs to throw the ball to, and they should make the playoffs this season. And there it is. They finally make the playoffs in year 5 as A.J. Brown and Garrett Wilson make that big of a difference. Who would have thought? They're playing the divisional rival Colts in the first round, who ended up winning the division at 13-4, as Rivers threw for 4,600 yards and 37 touchdowns with a 105 passer rating. I want to look at how those two receivers did. Okay, Zaire Polite is actually a dog, but A.J. Brown and Garrett Wilson are right there. All three receivers just over 1,000 yards. Garrett Wilson had 11 touchdowns, though. Yearly awards, Lamar Jackson for the Lions wins MVP. Rivers is not even on here yet. Okay, Rivers hasn't even sniffed an MVP yet, but he's at least in the playoffs. With a minute 10 left, they are currently down 15. Phillip's got to get him in the end zone and then hope that the defense can make a stop, and it's actually not going to happen, and they are going to lose in the wild card round 38-23 to the Indianapolis Colts. It's a close game. Rivers threw for 335 and 2 touchdowns, as Kenny Pickett is a starting quarterback of the Colts, and he threw for 230 and 2 touchdowns. Rivers threw 1 pick, whereas Kenny threw 2, but it wasn't enough, as probably, Jonathan Taylor ran for 150 and 2 touchdowns. So step in the right direction, though, as they do have weapons for Phillip. They do make the playoffs. They just got to put the pieces together and manage to get it done in the postseason. And going into year 6, he has re-signed with the team. Let's take a look at his contract. He ends up re-signing on a 4-year deal worth $108 million. So Phillip is locked up here until at least his 9th season. Offensively, the team is still the same with Key at running back. You got Garrett Wilson now at receiver 1 as A.J. Brown's regressed a little bit down to receiver 2. Higgins is up to an 84 and Rivers is also up to a 94. Polite is actually only an 80, but the man is a dog and has been the leading receiver on this team. Following Rivers' first career playoff appearance, they end up missing the playoffs again, going 6-11, but the 10th ranked passing offense. Rivers ends up throwing for 4,800 yards, 39 touchdowns, 107 passer rating, maybe potentially on the MVP list this time, but doesn't actually win it, and he's 9th on the list. Still doesn't win it. He's up to a 96 overall, though. As Trevor Lawrence, though, is the league MVP. Now we go on to year 7. Hopefully they can put it together. They might lose A.J. Brown or Garrett Wilson at some point along the way, but they're definitely going to need to put more offensive weapons and get a better defense. So going into year 7, Phillip is up to a 95. Key is an 85. Garrett Wilson is also still here at a 92. A.J. Brown regressed all the way down to an 89, and Higgins is an 85. So the offense is still pretty good. They still have the weapons to succeed. It's more just putting the pieces together and actually getting it all to pay off in the end. Well, once again, the offense is a pretty good season, but they had the last ranked defense in the league, so they missed the playoffs going 6-11, but the number 6 ranked passing offense. As you can see, Rivers is just getting better as he almost threw 5,000 yards and 37 touchdowns with a 108 passer rating. It's more just the defense can't put it together for him. Brock Purdy is the league MVP, as Phillip Rivers is not on the list at all, but good for Brock. 8th season, again, the offense has not changed as Higgins is up to an 86. A.J. Brown has regressed all the way down to a bronze, but is at least an 86 still. Key is an 86, and Garrett Wilson is still a 91. And Phillip Rivers still is his X factor and is up to a 96. They also have a receiver 3 who's a gold now and an 83 overall. And once again, this defense continues to fail Phillip Rivers as they miss the playoffs in year 8, going 6-11, but the number 5 ranked passing offense and number 8th ranked offense overall. Phillip finally was over 5,000 yards as he threw 5,043 touchdowns with a 113 passer rating. The MVP race, Howie Mullen ends up winning it, and Phillip Rivers is in 4th on the list, though, getting him up there a little closer to that league MVP. We can't let Phillip go through 2 careers with no Super Bowl. Please, just give him 1. Going into the final season on his contract extension, Rivers is up to a 96, Key is an 88, Garrett Wilson is still a 91, A.J. Brown is gone, and Rhodes is up to receiver 2 at an 85, and Higgins is still an 86. Potentially his last year as a Houston Texan, I highly doubt he leaves, but we'll see what ends up happening here. So somehow, even though I feel like the team's been getting better, they declined even farther, and the passing offense is 17th as they miss the playoffs again and go 6-11. It's funny, 17 isn't Phillip Rivers' real number in real life. Rivers has one of his worst seasons in a couple of years with 4,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, and a 96 passer rating. Obviously not the MVP, as Lawrence Chapman, quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, is MVP, and Joe Burrow is 2nd with Lions Lamar Jackson in 3rd. And I was right, going into year 10, Phillip Rivers is still here as Garrett Wilson has started to regress and is now receiver 2 at an 87 overall. Key is also an 87, Rhodes is up to receiver 1 at an 88, and Higgins has been upgraded to an 87 and a gold. He re-signs on another 4-year deal worth $127 million, which keeps him locked up here through year 13. And in year 10, they are back in the playoffs, going 9-8, finally doing something for Rivers, and they they play the Ravens, whose quarterback is Jalen Hurts as Lamar Jackson is a Detroit Lion. Rivers ended up with 4,800 yards and 43 touchdowns and a 105 passer rating. That 43 touchdowns is actually NFL leading, as Brock Purdy is actually the Eagles quarterback who replaced Jalen Hurts and was third in the MVP race as Jonathan Stratton won it, and Phillip Rivers is nowhere to be seen on this list. Let's see if they can finally win a playoff game and get past the wild card round. And with a minute 13 left in the fourth, they are down 3. Rivers has a chance with the ball and 2 timeouts to take the lead and win the game. Let's see if he can do it. Rivers has thrown 329 and 2 touchdowns in this game. He once again comes out lined up in the shotgun, dropping back to pass. He had the running back open underneath, but he didn't want to throw that. Rivers towards the end zone, and it's caught down to the 2. Down to the 3. Okay, sorry. So now with 26 seconds left, they come out in a running formation, potentially a handoff, and it is. He should have went up the middle. There was a giant hole, and instead he gets stopped at the line. And now Rivers comes out with a shotgun with one more chance, and they take that last time out and are just going to end up kicking the field goal with 11 seconds left instead of running one more play, which doesn't make any sense, but hey, it's Madden. And the kick is up, and the kick is obviously good with 8 seconds left on the clock. This game is going to overtime. Rivers starts with the ball in overtime. He has the ball at the 25 off of a touchback and one incomplete pass. He's in the pistol this time. He's going to hand it off, and Roquan Smith is there to meet the running back Key in the backfield, who loses 1. Key only has 39 yards rushing, so this Ravens defense, per usual, is shut down the run game. Let's see if Rivers can get the first down on a 3rd and 11, and if not, potentially lose in the wild card round again. Rivers dropping back to pass, and a guy comes unblocked around the edge. On the run, Rivers throws a dime for the first down. 360 and 2 touchdowns out of Phillip Rivers right now. And now on another 3rd down for Phillip Rivers, it is 3rd and 9. He's in the shotgun. He's going to take the snap here. He's dropping back to pass, unblocked around the edge. Rivers heaves one downfield, and he's open, and Rhodes is going to score and give them the lead. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I almost choked on my own spit there. That's my fault for my voice. His throwing animation is so ugly, but I had to find an ugly throw animation for him because Phillip Rivers threw the football like it was a baseball. The defense needs to make one stop here, and they are going to let the Ravens right down the field. It is now a 4th and goal, and they stop them, and Phillip Rivers has won a playoff game and is going on to the divisional round. Rivers threw for 417 and 3 touchdowns. On that touchdown pass, I genuinely was trying to get excited and talk, and I just choked. That's why my voice got so high there. That was bad. In the divisional round, they are going to play the Las Vegas Raiders, as Phillip Rivers is moving this far into the playoffs for the first time in his career. And in the divisional round, they end up losing by 10. They got it close in the end, but couldn't get the ball back and stop them from scoring the field goal, so the game ends up ending 30-20, and Rivers is going home in his first trip to the divisional round. Rivers, again, 382 and a touchdown, but nothing more he could do as the defense let up 30 points. Rivers did throw 2 picks, though, which doesn't help. The team has showed some progress as we go into year 11, though, which gets me a little hopeful that they can do that again and potentially move on past the divisional round and get farther into the playoffs and maybe even do a Super Bowl. Going into year 11, Rivers has started to regress as he's down to a 92. Rhodes is up to an 89. Key is down to an 86. Garrett Wilson is all the way down to an 82, but he continues to stay here, and Higgins even dropped down to an 85. And year 11, the team has one of their worst years so far, going 4-13, as the passing offense has dropped all the way down to the 24th ranked in the NFL. And Rivers has one of the worst seasons he's had in a long time, as he has 4,300 yards, 34 touchdowns, and a 99 passer rating. Definitely not an MVP. So now we go on to year 12, where it scared me a little bit because he's already started to regress. Now here in year 12, Rivers is all the way down to a 90 now, as Higgins is down to an 83. Garrett Wilson is officially gone, as Pierce at an 80 overall is now receiver 2. Key is an 84, and Rhodes is still an 88, doing great. Year 12, as Rivers is regressing, they actually win the division and go 9-8. Rivers brings it back, ends up throwing for 4,800 yards and 39 touchdowns with a 108 passer rating. No MVP, once again, not even in the conversation, which is understandable, as you have Joe Burrow still around, Jalen Hurts is still around, and George Rhodes is the MVP. It's actually funny, though, he's playing the Chargers, his real-life team that he spent most of his career with, including, actually, they played the Colts earlier, which was the team he ended his career with. Just past the 2-minute warning at their own 35, they're down 8. Rivers gets a chance with the ball to try and take the lead, or tie the game, I guess, because he's got to get a 2-point conversion to even tie the game here. Empty backfield, he drops back to pass again. They just need 5 for a first, and he does hit the tight end that I'm assuming is Higgins for the first down. Still hurry up. He's dropping back once more. He's throwing it to the sidelines. That is at least a first down, and they get out of bounds, saving those 3 timeouts. He sends Key in motion to the outside, making it an empty backfield, so obviously a pass as he's dropping back again. Quick throw to the tight end out of the backfield is a gain of 10 to the 25. There is now just over 50 seconds left as he's going to throw again. He's dropping back, quick throw, and he's wide open, and he gets out of bounds inside the 10. Rivers with 371 and 4 touchdowns. He is getting close to the end zone and throwing a 5th touchdown pass. So here he is again, dropping back to pass. He's going to throw one to the end zone, and it's covered well, and it is defensive pass interference, I'm assuming. The flag is defensive pass interference, and there it is. That is automatically down at the 1 with a chance to try and tie the game. He comes out in the shotgun, all 3 timeouts. He can hand it off here. He's not going to. He throws it to the end zone for a 5th touchdown pass of the game. Now, can he get the 2-point conversion? Coming out in a running formation, stack D-line, quick throw to the tight end, and they get it. The game is now tied at 45. The defense needs to make 1 stop, and the defense let the Chargers right downfield, and they ended up missing the field goal. Okay, so now in overtime again, and they get the ball. All they have to do is score here. They have to go 95 yards and score to win the game. It's 3rd and 5 here in overtime following the punt. They've ran the ball twice. Rivers comes out in the shotgun. I hope they throw it here, but the way they're backed up, and he's throwing it. Never mind. Okay. Over the middle, and he misses it. He was wide open for the first down, and the game is over. The Chargers win. They are going on to the divisional round, and Phillip is going home after throwing 372 and 5 touchdowns, but Clayton Cameron for the Chargers threw 502 and 4 touchdowns. And now we move on, and we go to his 13th season, which is the last year on his contract. If he decides to continue to play after this, he could finally leave Houston. Going into the last year on his contract, Rivers is now down to an 87, as they've lost Key at running back, and now have Taylor, who's a 78. Rhodes has regressed down to an 86. Pierce is up to an 81, and Higgins has regressed all the way down to an 80, but is still a gold. And they're back to regular form in year 13 as they miss the playoffs, going 5-12 with the number 12 ranked passing offense. Rivers ends up throwing for 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns with a 102 passer rating. Obviously not MVP, but per usual we'll check as Keontae Mallard for the Carolina Panthers is the MVP. Kenneth Walker was on the MVP list though. That's crazy. I haven't seen a running back on that list like at all through any of these sims. He does end up re-signing on a 1-year deal worth $27.4 million. Rivers is down to an 85. Taylor's up to an 80. Rhodes is still here at an 85. Pierce is up to an 83. And Higgins has been demoted to tight end 2 at a 77. And they now have Hayward at an 82 as a starting tight end. And in year 14, they do make the playoffs and they play the Jacksonville Jaguars, who won the division in the first round. Rivers ended up throwing for 4,700 yards, 29 touchdowns with an 100 passer rating. Definitely, again, not MVP, but we'll take a look as Trevor Lawrence is in second, and that's who we play in the first round. And that wasn't even on the MVP list, so now we go into the wildcard round again and see if they can win their second playoff game in Phillip's career. In the wildcard game, Trevor Lawrence tears them apart. It was actually 20-0 at one point. They brought it back somewhat as it was 27-7. It ended 27-17. Rivers threw 308 and a touchdown as T-Law threw 295 and 3 touchdowns. And once again, he's going home in the wildcard round. A very similar career to Eli Manning, just he actually managed to win one playoff game. Going into year 15, Rivers once again re-signs on a 1-year deal worth $27.1 million. Phillip is all the way down to an 82 as they lost a running back for the 3rd time in his career. Now have a 74 overall Hayward at running back. Pierce is up to receiver 1 at an 84. Rhodes is down to receiver 2 at an 81. And tight end Hayward is up to an 83. So this is his 15th season. He's regressed all the way down to an 82. I'm imagining it's one of his last years of his career. Let's see what happens here as we sim to the playoffs. And in year 15, they missed the playoffs with the 15th ranked passing offense. Let's go look at Rivers' stats. We're also going to look at his career stats before we're done here as he throws for 4,700 yards and 32 touchdowns with a 92 passer rating. No MVP as Tyreek Cummins wins. CJ Stroud is actually second. And now we move on to year 16 where he potentially could retire or he comes back at an even lower overall than an 82. And Rivers did actually re-sign in Houston at a 79 overall as he's back for probably one more season. Again, a 1-year deal worth only $10 million this time, as he's taking a very large pay cut, not even really to stack the team around him, as everyone's regressed. Hayward at running back is up 4 overall, Pierce is still an 83, Rhodes is all the way down to a 79, and tight end Hayward is an 84. Let's fast forward through year 16 and see if they can make the playoffs and send an aging Philip Rivers off into the sunset. And once again, they missed the playoffs, going 6-11 in his 16th season, the 14th ranked passing offense. Rivers ends up finishing his 16th season with 4,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, and a 108 passer rating. Once again, no MVP, as Paul Stringer wins it. Take one last look at his career stats, as he's got 75,000 yards, 553 touchdowns, and 212 interceptions. Philip Rivers is no longer a Houston Texan. Let's see if he signed somewhere else. Philip Rivers actually did leave in year 17, and he has gone to the Tennessee Titans. So the team is actually trying to have him come off the bench at a 76 overall, but this poor guy Juan Baxter is getting released. And now Philip Rivers is the starting quarterback, and we are going to set him as the team captain and see if the Tennessee Titans can actually save him, as he finally leaves Houston after 16 seasons. In his 17th season, the Titans go 11-6, and they're actually playing the team he spent 16 seasons with in the wild card round. As a 76 overall, he threw for 4,400 yards, 41 touchdowns, and had a 110 passer rating. Definitely not the MVP, but a great season, honestly, for his age, as he's 8th in the MVP list. And for his career stats, he's basically almost up to 80,000 yards, 600 touchdowns, 232 picks, and a 103.9, basically a 104 career passer rating. Let's see if he can take out his old team in the playoffs. Crazy, the moment he leaves, this team decides to go 11-6. Now, if the Texans win, we have to start looking at the possibility that maybe Philip Rivers was the problem. And in his first year in Tennessee, it's looking like Philip Rivers is going, never mind, and they lost. Oh my god, it was literally a 12-point game at one point, and I thought it was over, and the Titans end up throwing it away, and the Texans are moving on to the divisional round. I cut Juan Baxter from the Titans, and he ended up signing with the Texans and beating Philip Rivers in the playoffs. What a strange turn of events. That is, wow, that's insane. 383 and 4 touchdowns for Baxter, and 324 and 2 touchdowns for Philip Rivers. And now we go on to next season, which would be his 18th season, where he's technically a free agent at the end of the year and won't be in Tennessee, but we'll see if he just decides to retire and call it quits after disappointment like that. And Philip Rivers is no longer with the Tennessee Titans, potentially retiring. And as you can see right there, quarterback Philip Rivers goes on into the Hall of Fame. So he does call it quits after 17 seasons, as he finishes 5th all-time in passing yards, just under 80,000 yards, and just behind Drew Brees. And in touchdowns, he also finishes 5th, just behind Joe Burrow, as Brady, Mahomes, and Trevor Lawrence finish out the list of the top 5. He ends up finishing 8th all-time in legacy awards, as he finishes with 3 yearly awards, meaning he probably won a couple weekly awards like the Player of the Week stuff, because he didn't win MVP. The only thing he won was Rookie of the Year, on top of being the #1 overall pick. So at the end of the day, Philip Rivers did a little better than Eli Manning. Didn't win a Super Bowl, obviously, sadly, but that is going to be it for the video though, guys. If you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and leave any recommendations you have for players to do next down in the comments. With that out of the way though, it was a fun one. I will talk to you all later. Peace out.